Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue talking about Nikola Jokić and his options of when teams go to double him in the post. I've now talked about several things. I've already talked about kicking it out to shooters that the help comes from. I've talked about the defense not rotating and then Nikola Jokić finding them. I've talked about cutting from the near side help when a front side defender comes. We're going to take the next step of this, which is going to be talk about cut. I'm going to call this the 45 cut, is what I've commonly heard it referred to, and why that puts a lot of strain on the defending defense and why Nikola Jokić takes advantage of it. Let's go. So as Jokić is going to get settled here, we're essentially going to see Denver flow out to their positions. Okay, so here we loosely see Denver's idea. They're spaced around the floor, and Aaron Gordon's going to come down here to the dunker spot. So the two types of defense we talked about is when the defense either comes from this direction to double or comes from the near side to double. Each situation requires the defense to either rotate one way or the other. Either they all rotate towards the baseline, or if the near side comes, then they all rotate this way to make sure everyone is essentially covered and you split the offensive players to cover everyone. This essential 45 cut, which we're going to see either from Porter or Brown right here, is that we're going to see them cut into this space. The reason that this puts so much strain on the defense is that the defender that was here splitting two people now has to go with this person, okay? Because otherwise they're going to get a dunk at the rim. If they're distracted and they stay with this person or they stay out here on the perimeter guarding whoever's out there, then they're going to give up that easy layup, and it puts strain on the defense because they have to make that choice. Okay, so Jokić is getting down here. We see the double. So as we see the double, this is the split right here. Here's the split by SGA, and essentially Jalen Williams is kind of just has to say to Aaron Gordon because he's so close to the rim. And so Brown does a great job of this. Frankly, this is probably his best role, is he's going to cut in this space. So there's two big issues here. One is that we talked about SGA he's responsible for both these players, at least partially, so he has to stay connected at least to both of them temporarily. But he can't actually see Brown because they rotated, because they all have all the eyes on Nikola Jokić. He doesn't actually see that Brown's about to cut right here because his eyes are facing toward Jokić, which means that Brown's not going to have any resistance. And frankly, the only person that could kind of contest is maybe Jalen Williams, but he's in a bad position. And so it's going to lead to a wide open look for Christian Brown, and he's going to Denver's going to take that look 100% of the time. All right, same concept. And again, this works whether the help comes from both ways. So first off, what do we see from Josh Hart right there? He is aggressively going to come this way. And I'm guessing that this means they're going to essentially double from the backside instead of the front side like we saw with OKC right there. So we now have Brunson is going to guard these two here and here. The idea is these defenders are all going to be responsible for two people. And again, I believe we're going to have Christian Brown in this situation. Maybe Michael Porter. Yep, there's Christian Brown. Okay, so Brunson does a good job. He comes down here. He takes Watson. And essentially the double's a little slow to get there, but that's the idea. This defender, he's supposed to be guarding both these players. He's a little too close to Porter Jr. Porter Jr. is a good shooting threat, so I'm sure that's what he's thinking in his head. But Brown's like, okay, well, Brunson's occupied. Why not just cut right into the space as they've been taught by Denver? And I mean, Jokić is going to find that every single time. And again, a wide open look right at the rim. And so one good important question here is, what should the defense actually do in this situation? And honestly, you got to have somebody go with them. So whoever's splitting those two players. So as Russ comes out here, whoever is splitting these two players has just got to go with them. You got to hit him early, make contact with him, push him off whatever line and trajectory he's trying to go. And you got to go with him, and you just got to communicate to the rest of the team that now they have to split even more players. And then you can kind of be over here and provide a little bit of help defense. But you got to go with them because you cannot give up a layup like that. Okay, Jokić goes. You can see that like they're kind of like gonna double. I think he's like pretending to double, but essentially it does cause the defense to have to rotate because now this player has to stay with these two, even though, I mean, they're both inside the 3-point line, which Aaron Gordon should be out here in my opinion. But so Russ is gonna cut into this open space, and because this defender is worried about both of them, he's like, okay, well, I can't leave Aaron Gordon because he's gonna make a 3 or make a long 2 at this point. And so Russ cuts into that space, and there's no one there to get it. So one important thing on this possession is I really don't like the idea of like kind of trapping. Like if you're going to go, Niang's got to go, Stop with this half in, half out because you're effectively guarding nobody, and it makes it difficult. We see actually number 3, I think like because he sees Aaron Gordon cutting, so he goes with him. So I think this is more on the coaching staff than maybe any defensive players necessarily, because there's just too much to account for. And if you take one defender out of the play, I mean, Jokić is going to going to take advantage of it. And so for our final example, this actually isn't like quite a clear 45 cut. Maybe Russell would be the 45 cut if Brown was down here, but we're actually going to see Brown go right here. I mean, this is his role in the offense, at least in previous seasons when he wasn't shooting as well or shooting as frequently. But again, similar to what we saw with SGA earlier, if you have the eyes on the inside, like you're in trouble, because you can't see when the cut goes. So Brown looks for those eyes, sees that Grady Dick is not there, and so just cuts right into space. And this defender, frankly, does a good job of getting there, but he shouldn't have to be put in that position all by himself where he has to guard two players, one of them coming downhill fully at him. 45 cut from the offense puts a lot of strain on the defense because it forces them to react and forces them to rotate in a way they're not quite prepared for, because it doesn't fit with the stereotypical rotations that they're taught in practice. But we're going to see actually next video of what the right thing to essentially do is, and then what the next read is for Jokić, because they took away the cutter, what that frees up for him for his next read. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and most importantly, have a blessed rest of your day.